Have you ever felt a strange unease walking into a room? Or a sudden, inexplicable coldness in your own home? Or perhaps that lingering sense of being watched, even when you know you're alone? You brush it off, thinking it's just your imagination, but what if it's more than that? A friend of mine, let's call her Sarah, lived in a beautiful old house that she adored. She spent years collecting antiques, each piece carefully chosen, adding history and charm to her home. But soon after, things started to change. Every time Sarah came home after work, the house felt colder. She heard faint whispers at night. Her once peaceful home became a place of discomfort, where sleep became restless and shadows seemed to move. It wasn't until Sarah consulted a spiritual healer that she learned a haunting truth. One of the antiques she had acquired, an old mirror, was not just a decorative piece. It had once belonged to a family that practiced dark rituals. This was no mere trinket. It was a vessel for negative energy. And as Sarah brought it into her home, she unknowingly invited a malevolent force along with it. The healer advised her to remove it, and the difference was immediately felt. The energy of the house shifted, and the unsettling sensations faded. It's not just Sarah's story. This happens to many of us. We bring objects into our homes without realizing their potential to attract darkness. These seemingly innocent items are far more powerful than we think. First, let's talk about items with negative energy, things that we may have inherited or purchased which, unbeknownst to us, carry the weight of past trauma, rituals, or even curses. These items act as magnets for spirits and dark entities. We may think of them as decorative pieces, but to certain forces, they are a beacon. A simple item can harbor an energy that wasn't ours to begin with. Symbols. The same goes for occult symbols, which are often misused for decorative purposes, unintentionally inviting entities that thrive on negative vibrations. And then there are family heirlooms and antiques. These treasured items, passed down from generation to generation, carry not just memories, but the unresolved emotions of those who once owned them. Sometimes, these objects contain an energy that isn't aligned with peace or positivity. We don't often think of the emotional and spiritual imprint a previous owner might have left behind, but it can be significant. Another category is unwanted gifts or objects tied to painful memories. The gift from an ex-partner, the trophy from a long-lost friend, or anything linked to a difficult time in our life can carry emotional weight. These items act like emotional anchors, and if not properly cleared or released, they attract and amplify those old emotions. Whether it's sadness, anger, or grief, these energies can create a space where dark forces thrive. We can't ignore the open spiritual portals that certain items create. Mirrors, crystals, certain artwork. These are not just material possessions. They can serve as conduits for energy. Mirrors, in particular, are known for their ability to reflect not just our image, but the unseen. They are often called portals in spiritual circles, capable of allowing things to come in, or worse, something to stay. Similarly, improperly used crystals can hold and channel energy, sometimes opening doors that should remain closed. Finally, there's the truth about personal energies and emotional attachments. When we're emotionally invested in an item, we pour our energy into it. Objects over time can carry these emotions, especially if they are tied to grief, anger, or trauma. This energy doesn't just stay in the object, it attaches to our home, filling the space with these feelings and making it an attractive spot for dark energies that thrive on negativity. So, how do we remove these invisible guests? First, Cleansing your home is essential. This could involve using sage, incense, or even salt, all of which are known to banish negative energy. But it's not just about the physical space, it's about the emotional and spiritual work. Letting go of objects that no longer serve you or bring peace can make a massive difference. If you feel emotionally connected to an object but it's tied to negative experiences, consider donating, burning, or burying it. Releasing that connection can lift the weight that's been holding you down. You may ask, but can I just keep everything? The answer is no. When we keep items that attract darkness, we invite negative energy to settle in our homes and our lives. It's crucial to understand that the peace of your space is sacred. And just as you protect your mental and physical health, you must also protect your spiritual well-being. The next time you look at an old item or an antique, ask yourself, does this bring me peace? Or does it bring with it a shadow of the past? Is this something I want to keep? Or is it something I need to let go of? Your home should be a sanctuary, not a battlefield. Don't wait for a moment of discomfort to prompt change. Act now. Clear your space and invite positivity in. In the end, it's not just about removing physical objects. It's about reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your space. There are certain items that unknowingly carry negative energy and can attract harmful spirits or dark forces into our homes. These objects may seem completely ordinary at first glance, but upon deeper examination, they hold an energy that can disrupt the peace of a household and create an environment conducive to unwanted presences. Negative energy is real, and it can manifest through various forms. Emotions, unresolved trauma, or even spiritual imprints left behind by people or events. This energy can accumulate in objects over time, making them a conduit for negative forces to enter your space. One of the most insidious ways that negative energy attaches itself to items is through objects with a dark past. It could be a relic from a past life, a piece of furniture passed down from someone who experienced great suffering or trauma, or even something obtained through rituals or practices that are linked to darkness. These objects unknowingly become vessels for emotions, intentions, or spiritual imprints that they absorbed over time. The energy they carry may not be immediately obvious, but when placed in your home, it begins to interact with your environment, often in subtle yet noticeable ways. For instance, imagine buying an old antique chair at a flea market. It's beautifully crafted with intricate designs, and you think it would be a perfect addition to your living room. What you might not know is that the chair had once been in a house where a great tragedy occurred, a violent event, or a family dispute that left behind emotional residue. Even though you are unaware of the chair's past, that negative energy it carries starts to seep into your home. Over time, you may notice strange feelings when sitting in the chair, an inexplicable sense of unease, a sudden shift in mood, or a feeling of being watched. These may seem like coincidences at first, but in reality, they are the manifestations of the negative energy that the object brought into your space. Another example could involve objects that have been obtained through questionable means or linked to practices that involve dark forces. Many people unknowingly bring such items into their homes through antique shops, estate sales, or even as gifts. Items like jewelry, figurines, or paintings that were once used in occult rituals or were owned by individuals involved in dark practices can become conduits for negative spiritual activity. These items, while outwardly attractive or intriguing, are spiritually charged in ways we may not fully comprehend. Without proper clearing or understanding of their past, they can disrupt the energy in your home, causing restlessness, feelings of fear, or even physical manifestations of discomfort. Furthermore, objects that are tied to unresolved emotional experiences or trauma can also carry negative energy. It could be something that was once owned by someone who had experienced deep emotional turmoil or a traumatic event. Even a seemingly innocent object, like a family heirloom or a memento from a painful relationship, can store the emotional energy of its previous owner. If that person experienced sorrow, anger, fear, or grief, those emotions can become attached to the object and in turn affect your emotional state when you bring it into your home. This is why many people feel uneasy when they inherit items from relatives with whom they had complicated or strained relationships. The energy of those past experiences lingers in the object, creating an invisible yet powerful influence in your space. This negative energy doesn't just stay confined to the object itself, it can affect the entire atmosphere of the home. Over time, the energy starts to accumulate, creating an environment where negativity thrives. You might begin to notice a sense of heaviness in the air. Where peace and harmony once existed, relationships within the household could become strained, with arguments or misunderstandings occurring more frequently. People in the home may start to feel more anxious, tired, or depressed without any clear reason. These shifts in mood and energy are often a reflection of the subtle influence that the objects in your space are having on your overall environment. The presence of negative energy can also attract entities that feed off of fear, sadness, or other low vibrational emotions. These spirits or forces are drawn to places where they can find energy to sustain themselves. Just as positive energy can attract light, negative energy can attract darkness. When your home is filled with objects that hold this energy, you unknowingly make it a sanctuary for these malevolent entities. They can manifest in various ways, from strange noises or cold spots to more severe and unsettling experiences, like objects moving on their own, or feeling a presence in your home when no one is there. These manifestations are often signs that something is amiss, and the energy you've allowed into your space is playing a role in inviting these forces in. The good news is that negative energy is not invincible. It can be removed, and with the right approach, you can restore peace and balance to your home. The first step is becoming aware of the objects that may be harboring this energy. Take a closer look at the items you've acquired, whether through inheritance, purchases, or gifts, and consider their origin and the emotions they might carry. If something feels off about an object, trust your intuition. There are various ways to cleanse these items, such as using sage, salt, or spiritual rituals that help purify your space. Additionally, letting go of items that are linked to negative experiences can make a significant difference. It's about releasing the past and making space for positive healing energy to flow freely within your home. In conclusion, while it may seem strange or even superstitious, the objects you bring into your home do carry energy, and this energy can have a profound impact on your well-being. Negative energy can accumulate in seemingly innocent items, affecting not only the atmosphere of your home, but also your emotional and spiritual health. By taking proactive steps to identify and remove these objects, you can protect your space and ensure that it remains a sanctuary for peace, positivity, and light. Symbols have always held immense power across cultures, religions, and belief systems. They serve as representations of abstract concepts, ideas, or energies. They can evoke a deep emotional response, whether that's peace, love, protection, or fear. Because of this, symbols carry a potent spiritual charge. However, when it comes to some symbols, especially those linked to darker energies or practices, their power can be dangerous. In certain contexts, these symbols may attract negative entities, creating an environment where dark forces can thrive. The power of symbols lies not just in their visual representation, but in the energy they carry and the meanings they evoke. For example, the evil eye, a common symbol found across many cultures, is often used to protect against envy and malicious intent. While it is meant to deflect negative energy and offer protection, the symbol itself has roots in ancient beliefs and rituals that might have been tied to occult practices. In this way, the symbol carries a duality. It can protect, but it can also attract. If the evil eye is not used with the right intentions or in the proper context, it can become a gateway for negative energy to enter a space. By focusing too much on a symbol that embodies protection against harm, one could inadvertently open the door to darker forces or spiritual disturbances. Another example of how symbols can invite negative energies is in the context of occult symbols such as pentagrams, sigils, or other arcane markings. These symbols, when used in their traditional contexts, often have associations with summoning, protection rituals, or magical practices. But when such symbols are used carelessly, without understanding their deeper meanings, or without the proper spiritual precautions, they can serve as invitations to negative energies. In some cases, people may use these symbols as decorative elements, unaware of their potent background. A pentagram, for instance, has multiple meanings across various cultures. While it can represent balance, protection, or spiritual wholeness in certain traditions, in others, it is linked to black magic, demonic forces, or invocation of spirits. It's important to understand that symbols are not neutral. They are alive with energy. When a person adopts a symbol without understanding its full implications, it can unintentionally open spiritual doors that might be better left closed. This isn't always about the symbol itself being inherently evil, but more about the energy attached to its use. By displaying a symbol tied to practices or beliefs that attract negative entities, a person is unwittingly inviting the forces that align with those energies to enter their home. For instance, the practice of using a skull motif or dark imagery in home decor may seem harmless to some, but such motifs have long been associated with death, the afterlife, or even occult practices. The constant presence of such imagery could subtly shift the energy in a home toward darker, heavier vibes, creating an atmosphere where lower vibrational entities can flourish. Additionally, certain symbols can resonate deeply with the human psyche. When an object is decorated with a symbol that represents fear, negativity, or the unknown, it can elicit a subconscious emotional reaction. This can lead to an internal disturbance, even if it's not immediately obvious. Over time, the energy of fear or anxiety that these symbols evoke can build up, creating an environment ripe for darker forces to influence the people within the space. For example, cobwebs or dark, gothic decor, often seen around Halloween or in certain subcultures, have associations with death, decay, and the underworld. These symbols are connected to a space of liminality, the space between life and death. When placed in the home for decoration or aesthetic purposes, these symbols can subtly align the energy of the space with those realms, potentially attracting spirits or energies associated with death and the afterlife. Another powerful way symbols interact with spiritual energy is through their spiritual associations. Many symbols are deeply ingrained in religious and spiritual traditions. The cross, for example, is an iconic symbol of Christianity, representing the sacrifice of Christ and the protection of the faithful. For someone who practices a different religion or has no religious affiliation, the cross may not carry the same power or protection. However, for someone deeply rooted in Christianity, displaying a cross in the home can bring comfort, blessings, and divine protection. But if used inappropriately or in an environment where its spiritual significance is misunderstood or disregarded, it may lose its intended function. In a similar vein, symbols associated with darker practices, like pentagrams or inverted crosses, might act as spiritual anchors for forces that oppose light, even if they are meant to be used for aesthetic or artistic purposes. The placement of symbols also plays a critical role in the energies they bring into a space. A symbol placed in the wrong location within a home can amplify or distort its meaning. For example, placing an image of a deity in a part of the home meant for relaxation, such as the bedroom, may inadvertently cause spiritual unrest. Similarly, placing symbols linked to chaos or death in communal spaces can lead to negative emotional or spiritual dynamics within a household. In Feng Shui, the placement of symbols and objects is carefully considered because each area of the home is associated with a different type of energy. Placing an object that carries heavy or dark energy in a space that is meant to foster harmony can upset the flow of qi, making the home more susceptible to negative influences. In some cases, symbols are not just visual, they are also energetic. Crystals, for instance, are often used as symbols of healing or protection. However, the way they are charged, placed, and used can determine their effectiveness. When improperly charged or when used for negative purposes, they can attract harmful energies instead of repelling them. Crystals are highly sensitive to human intentions and the emotional states of those around them, so using them in the wrong context can make them act as a beacon for negative forces instead of providing the intended protection. In conclusion, symbols are not mere decorations. They are powerful, living representations of energies that can influence our lives and spaces in ways we may not fully comprehend. Whether it's an object linked to spiritual beliefs, a culturally significant symbol, or a motif chosen for its aesthetic value, the energy a symbol carries can greatly affect the environment of a home. When displayed without proper understanding or consideration, symbols can invite negative energies into a space, attracting forces that may disrupt peace, harmony, and security. Understanding the deep energetic significance of symbols and using them with intention and care is essential in ensuring that they bring positive energy into your home rather than unknowingly inviting darkness. Family heirlooms and antiques have a unique charm that makes them treasured additions to a home. These items are often seen as priceless pieces of history, connecting us to the past, to our ancestors, and to significant events or eras. However, despite their sentimental and aesthetic value, these objects can carry more than just memories. They can also carry energy. Objects that have been passed down through generations or acquired from past owners may be imbued with the experiences, emotions, or even unresolved trauma of those who previously owned them. This energy can have a profound impact on the current inhabitants of a home, often in ways that are subtle but deeply felt. Unresolved emotional imprints and spiritual remnants attached to these items can turn a cherished family heirloom or an antique into a potential conduit for negative. When we inherit items, especially those that belonged to family members or ancestors, we often feel a deep emotional connection to them. These objects are seen as physical representations of our heritage, holding not only personal memories, but also the history of our families. For instance, a piece of jewelry passed down from a grandmother, an old clock that once sat on a beloved aunt's mantle, or a painting that hung in your great-grandparents' home might evoke a sense of warmth, nostalgia, and love. They carry with them the essence of those who have come before us, and we often cherish them as tangible links to the past. However, these objects can also carry the weight of the emotional and spiritual experiences of their previous owners. In many cases, objects, especially those that have been with one person for a long time, can absorb the energy of their surroundings. If a piece of furniture, a painting, or even a simple trinket was once associated with stress, anger, or trauma, it can carry that energy with it as it moves from one generation to the next. In certain situations, the object may have been present during moments of pain or suffering. Perhaps an antique chair once belonged to a family member who suffered a long illness or an emotionally turbulent marriage. The emotional residue of those experiences can become imprinted on the object, creating a subtle but undeniable shift in its energy. This imprint of negative energy can be passed on when the item is inherited. While it may not always be immediately apparent, the energy attached to the heirloom can begin to influence the current owners, sometimes without them even realizing it. For example, a family heirloom might seem to evoke strange feelings in the person who inherits it, feelings of unease, sadness, or anxiety that were not present before the object came into their possession. These feelings could be a manifestation of the unresolved emotional history attached to the object. Even if the object appears beautiful or valuable, its energy may be carrying emotional baggage from the past that disrupts the harmony and peace in your own home. The emotional impact of antiques can be particularly pronounced because of their age and the vast number of experiences they have witnessed over the years. The longer an object has been around, the more it may have absorbed, particularly if it has passed through several different hands. For instance, an antique mirror that has been in several homes over the decades may have reflected the lives of various families, each with its own set of joys, sorrows, and conflicts. Over time, the mirror could hold an amalgamation of emotional imprints, from arguments and hardships to moments of celebration and joy. While some of these energies may be neutral or even positive, the more difficult and unresolved energies tend to have a stronger influence. These negative imprints may be what causes someone to feel uneasy in a room with that mirror, or perhaps to have nightmares or restless sleep when it's in their presence. The attachment to these objects can also amplify their effect. Because family heirlooms and antiques are often deeply loved and cherished, the emotional connection to them can create a stronger bond between the object and its owner. If an individual has a deep attachment to an item, whether because it belonged to a beloved family member or simply because of its aesthetic or historical value, those emotions can further enhance the connection between the person and the energy within the object. In some cases, this connection might be so strong that it overrides the individual's ability to objectively recognize when the object is having a negative impact on their emotional or mental state. They may hold on to these items despite feeling uncomfortable or drained, either due to a sense of duty, familial loyalty, or nostalgia. Additionally, antiques, particularly those with a storied past, are often considered charged with energy. These objects have witnessed countless moments in time and have been part of different lives and histories. While some of this energy may be benign or even positive, other energies, particularly unresolved ones, can be disruptive. Take, for example, an antique piece of furniture that has been passed down through multiple generations. It may have been in a home where abuse, violence, or unresolved grief took place. Though the person inheriting the furniture might not be consciously aware of these events, the energy of those experiences could be transferred to the object, making it more than just a piece of furniture. It becomes an emotional vessel, carrying the weight of its previous history. For some people, the energy tied to these heirlooms and antiques might manifest as inexplicable feelings of discomfort, sadness, or anger when in their presence. This may lead to disruptions in the home, from increased conflict among family members to a growing sense of unease in certain rooms. Others may experience physical sensations, sudden headaches, fatigue, or a feeling of being watched that can be attributed to the emotional and spiritual imprint left on the objects. While these experiences may seem unusual, they are not unheard of, and they suggest that the energy associated with family heirlooms and antiques has a much deeper effect than we often realize. In conclusion, while family heirlooms and antiques hold significant value, whether sentimental, aesthetic, or historical, the energy they carry can sometimes create an atmosphere that is not conducive to peace and harmony. These objects can absorb the emotions, trauma, and unresolved energies of their previous owners. And when they are passed down to the next generation, they bring that energy with them. It is essential to recognize that the value of an object is not only determined by its material worth or its sentimental significance, but also by the energy it holds. To ensure that these items contribute to the well-being of a home, it's crucial to cleanse them spiritually, acknowledge any negative energy they may carry, and release any emotional attachments that may be keeping you tied to past energies. Only then can you truly ensure that these treasured items bring comfort and peace, rather than inadvertently invite negativity into your space. In conclusion, the objects we bring into our homes, whether heirlooms, antiques, symbols, or even everyday items, carry with them an energy that can profoundly influence the atmosphere and the lives of those living there. From emotional imprints of past owners to the spiritual energy tied to symbols or objects from dark practices, we are constantly interacting with the unseen forces that these items harbor. It is crucial to be aware of how these energies can shape our environment, and by being mindful of what we allow into our homes, we can ensure that we create a space of peace, positivity, and spiritual harmony. Whether it's through cleansing, releasing attachments, or simply being more intentional about the items we keep around us, we hold the power to transform our surroundings. As we do so, we invite more light, love, and tranquility into our lives. Remember, it's not just about the material value of the things we own, but the energy they carry and the impact they have on our emotional and spiritual well-being. Good luck on your journey toward a peaceful, harmonious home free from the influence of negative energy. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this important topic. May your space be filled with warmth, love, and positivity always.